Alright guys, Delzinski here, and today we are talking Transformers The Last Night, and we are just a few hours away now until the premiere in Leicester Square. And if you want to go and check out what is going on in Leicester Square this evening, well, around about 5 o'clock, I believe the Transformers Facebook page will be showing some live action from the event. And I know for a fact that they have got the cars up there already, the likes of Barricade and Bumblebee all in attendance. I think Hound is there as well. So that is a pretty cool setup to see up in Leicester Square. But that all kicks off around about 5 o'clock today. But that's not what I want to talk about just yet, because what I want to talk about is the event that I attended on Friday, because I was invited by Paramount Pictures to a Transformers The Last Night Q&A, which was streamed live via Facebook Live. And if you want to check that out as well, the link to the full Q&A is in the description box below. But I'm going to give you an overview in this video of that event, and we're going to talk about what I got to see and what I got to hear. And it was interesting when I got the invite, and again, thank you to Paramount Pictures for inviting me to this event, because the event was held in a church, and that's a pretty strange place to be invited to a Q&A, it being held in a church. But this church has meaning because it was held in St. Bart's Church, and that's up around Farringdon Way, around the Barbican, and it actually has got key meaning to the film because Michael Bay used St. Bart's Church to film in for Transformers The Last Night. So they took a lot of footage from that venue. So it's kind of awesome to be at a Q&A knowing that they used that site to film in. And the whole of the church was kitted out with photos from the movie, shots from the actual movie itself, and then some backstage. So, you know, Michael Bay behind the camera, you know, looking at it from his perspective, and the organisation and the preparation that goes in to making a Transformers film. So it was a really awesome setup, and it had that kind of, you know, that tone to it with it being in a church as well. But we were all there for the Q&A, and the Q&A had all the key players. It had Jared Carmichael, who plays Desi. It had Isabella Mona, who plays Isabella. It had Josh Duhamel, who plays Colonel William Lennox. Laura Haddock, who plays Vivian Wembley. Mark Wahlberg, of course, Marky Mark, who plays Cade Yeager. And let's not forget the director himself, the one and the only Michael Bay. And the Q&A, well, it was a really fun event. Everyone seemed to be up for it who was on the panel, and actually it was just a good laugh. The questions were all submitted via social media, via Twitter or Facebook, so they were actually questions from you, the fans, not from the people that were in attendance at the event. And you had to use the hashtag TransformersFanEvent to submit your question. And I'm actually going to show you now some footage that I got from the event, because we were allowed to record and take photos. There was no issues with that. We were said that that was absolutely fine. And one of the questions that came up was, and like I said, you can go and check out the full Q&A via my description box below, but one of the questions that came up was, if you could be a Decepticon or an Autobot, which would you be? Who would you be with? Decepticons or Autobots? And that was asked to the entire cast, and here was their response.
Okay, I think that I would be an Autobot, but I have the soul of a Decepticon. At least that's what it says in my Tinder profile. I don't know.
Isabella, how about yourself? Autobot and Decepticon?
I can't go after that.
You follow that.
You can't. How do I follow that? I think I look like a Megatron. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, I probably would be like a Decepticon who transforms into like a buggy. Like with the really small ones that you feel claustrophobic in. Very small, yes.
You just make sure you're never on Tinder. That's all I care about.
Oh my God! Wait, we have to go back to that though. Mark Wahlberg and when he thinks I'm talking to boys, we have to go back to that.
What?
He gets very defensive. I brought a friend to set from my hometown, and he's just a guy friend. You know, we're allowed to have guy friends. But he comes back to my trailer, and he looks really scared. And I'm like, why do you look scared? He's like, Mark Wahlberg doesn't like me at all. I'm like, why? And he's like, I walked out of your trailer, I waved to him, and he gave me this death look. And I think it's because I was walking out of your trailer. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Mark. He didn't like me talking to boys.
He's lucky he didn't get this 10.5 Timberland in his behind. That's next. Okay, after you're 18, we'll have some discussions about maybe holding hands.
Josh, over to you. Autobot, Decepticon, and indeed why?
Autobot or Decepticon, you know, the Decepticons are obviously a lot more fun, a lot more destructive.
They die quicker.
No, I don't know. It's such a difficult question because, you know, I don't want to be defined by either. I mean, obviously I'm going to say that I want to be an Autobot, but I probably behave like a Decepticon on Tinder. I don't have a Tinder account.
Girls like Decepticons, man. I'm telling you.
No, but the truth is, I have a 69 Camaro, yellow with the black pinstripes. That my son thinks is Bumblebee. He actually thinks is Bumblebee. He's waiting for it to transform. So, for that, I guess I have an affinity for the Autobots.
I think you have to after that. That's incredible. Do you? Are you gonna tell him one day, or are you just gonna keep going?
No, I'll let him keep believing it.
Yeah. It's not like when he's like 20 and he's.
Yeah. It's like Santa Claus, you know. He'll figure it out when he figures it out.
Yeah. Good. Laura, Autobot, Decepticon.
Maybe like the love child of an Autobot and a Decepticon. They like hook up and it's weird and nobody is really on board with it. Then they have a kid and that was me.
Wow. That is some...
And I'm either my first car, which is a Peugeot 206 that only got to 30 miles per hour. And I used to literally drive up and down from Newcastle. It used to take me 5 days. Or a Mustang.
I'd go with the Mustang, just speaking like abstract, but yeah. Mark, how about yourself?
Newcastle, is that where you said the girls don't wear clothes in the winter?
It is.
So I was like, oh, nobody wears clothing here in the winter time. They're like, it's a big party place. I'm like, really? I don't see anybody. Well, we're in the middle of nowhere. But me, whatever Michael Bay tells me.
Michael, both for yourself and I guess for Mark.
No, it's going to be different. There's this thing called the headmaster named Cogman. He actually played this organ right here. I think I'd like to be Cogman's brother.
Cogman is a great new character.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah. I mean, properly unhinged. He's brilliant. He must have been
And the voice, Jim Carter is the voice of Cogman, so it's really weird. It's like Downton Abbey meets Transformers.
Everybody loved Cogman except for me.
Yeah, so as you can see, the event was pretty light-hearted. Everyone was in very good spirit, and the questions, you know, the answers and the responses had a fun tone to them. The fact that they mentioned Tinder and Mark Wahlberg picking up on the goings-on of what might happen in Newcastle, and the fact as well that Laura Haddock mentions that she used to drive a Peugeot 206. I don't think we'll be seeing that in a Transformers film anytime soon, but the answers were fun and everybody was having a good time. But this was the question that's coming up next that really got me, because it was kind of a bit controversial, the answer to it. And the question was to Josh Duhamel about how Colonel William Lennox as a character has developed over the 5 films. And let me just let it run what Josh Duhamel says, and then we'll have a little bit of a discussion about it.
Being in 4 of the 5 films, Josh, how has your character changed?
He started off drinking coffee and now he drinks tea.
you know, a movie like this, when you've done the whole franchise, the character develops as you go. I had a baby in the first one. A baby that I was missing, that I was away from at war. And we never talked about her again. 5 movies later, we have no idea what happened to my baby.
What is it?
Maybe it's my baby.
What if...
You're supposed to create your own backstory. You're supposed to have this long, elaborate story of how the baby...
I got a whole backstory. It's just, you know...
Share.
It got cut from the movie.
So, Josh Duhamel taking a little bit of a dig at Michael Bay and how his character, Colonel William Lennox, has progressed over the 5 films in the Transformers franchise, saying that he hasn't seen his baby or his family since Transformers 1, but that is something that divides the Transformers universe. The fact that sometimes Michael Bay's directing style doesn't tie up loose ends and answer questions that you expect possibly should. Maybe not the whereabouts of Colonel William Lennox and his family is concerned, but it is something when it comes to other areas that you'd kind of expect to have an answer to before we simply move on. But I found it interesting, and it was all in good heart, really, to be honest with you. Everybody was taking little digs here and there at each other, and it was all in good fun. The fact as well that Josh Duhamel finding out on this Q&A as it happened that potential scenes that he was in were cut from the movie as well. So this was really enlightening for Josh Duhamel. But if you do want to catch the full Q&A, like I said, it is in the description box below. And there was one other question that I wanted to cover in this video. Now, I didn't capture the footage of this, but I did post a tweet out as and when it happened on Friday. It was the question that everybody asks when it comes to the Transformers franchise to Michael Bay. Will Transformers The Last Night be your final Transformers film? And Michael Bay responded with, yes, Transformers The Last Night will be his last Transformers film. And again, the response that I had from that tweet, very divided. Some people looking for a new direction and others almost begging that he stays. So, you know, it's a real split with the fandom and the Transformers universe. But he says that it's his last film, but he has said this on many occasions. I mean, when he got done with Transformers Dark of the Moon, he said he'd done his trilogy. That's what he came here to do. And he could not do any more for the franchise, and it was now set up for somebody else to take it on, only for him to then come back and do Age of Extinction. And then he did Transformers The Last Night, and he said he had such a blast making Transformers The Last Night. I still think there's that indication that he will stay on. In regards to Mark Wahlberg as the main character, Cade Yeager, well, his contract is up, so we could potentially be looking at a new director and a new male lead. It doesn't have to be a male lead, but with Mark Wahlberg stepping aside, there is a void to fill. So really, really interesting stuff. Things to think about for the future of the Transformers universe, and particularly now that we have the writers' room, the plan for new movies, the Bumblebee movie coming under a new director. So it's an exciting and it's an interesting time, and there could be quite a lot of changes to the Transformers universe, but only time will tell. So yeah, that was the Transformers Q&A, which I got to see up close and personal on Friday. And I also, and I saved this till last because I don't want to make a big deal about it, but I did also get to see Transformers The Last Night. Yes, I have seen the film, and we're not going to say much more about it because I want you to go and see the film yourself. I want you to get your own view and then come back to my channel when you have seen the film, and we will talk about it in another video in detail, because It's not the time and the place to do it, to talk about and give spoilers when the film has not been released. We have the premiere today, and then we have, you know, the world release next week. So after that's happened, we will talk Transformers The Last Night. And all I will say, and this is all I will say, is you must make sure you are ready for this movie, because there is a lot to digest. That's all I will say. Be ready when you go and see Transformers The Last Night. So that is the Q&A roundup, and as well, like I said, I have seen it, and I can't wait for you to tell me what you think of the movie when you have been to the cinema. Let me know when you have seen it, and we will discuss it in a future video. All that's left to be said is, if you do want to catch the goings on in Leicester Square today, head over to the Transformers Facebook page. They are doing some live shots of what's going on there, and if you want to catch the full Q&A, again, link in the description box below. All that's left to be said is please rate, comment and subscribe. Enjoy Transformers The Last Night when you see it, and this is Delzinski signing out.